Hey everyone, happy Monday. We are back for another Monday
Happy Monday,
Rundown.
guys.
For those of you that are with us for the first time, Monday Rundowns are the shows that Winston and I get to talk about all the other things that we don't normally get to talk about on our Wednesday shows, because on Wednesdays we usually leave that towards entrepreneurship and business. And so I love Mondays. I know Winston loves Mondays because we get to
Say
really
that.
get into some fun things in terms of personal growth. We get to listen to other thought leaders, other content creators to hear what their ideas are, and we all learn together.
Absolutely.
So, one of the things that I'm excited to talk about is today. If you didn't already know, today is my masterclass, How to Earn a Lucrative Income by Becoming a Best-Selling Author from Scratch. There it is. Then the link to register is in the description box. There is still time to register, so make sure you go do that. Look, there's only there's only 14 days left in the year. So you want to make sure that you end your new year by starting on working on those goals that you have for 2025. So that way you walk into 2025 already ready to go. So I
Say
invite
that.
you to that personally. And let's see. As another random announcement, we know that Christmas is coming up. If you are purchasing or sending anything by the United States Postal Service, today's the day. Today's the day, guys. If you want your packages to arrive before Christmas. So
Absolutely.
I put that note out there.
All right, cool. All right, so let's jump into today's topic. And here we go.
Why do we like to rescue others? This is a good question. I know for me, this is real. Like answering this question, thinking about the answer to this question first was like, do I like to rescue others? And I was like, oh, yeah. I, in the past, have found myself wanting to help and rescue people. And I'm sure a part of it is, it makes you feel good to know that you've helped somebody else, right? It's not all altruistic. There is like the personal benefit or gain that you get from just like it feels good to help someone else.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know how healthy that is either. Because then how often am I looking for help? Probably not. I probably should ask for more help more often than I do. And so asking for help, I recognize now, is a sign of strength rather than a sign of weakness. And so this is a part of my life that I'm growing through. Why
Mm-hmm.
though? The only why I can come up with is that like it feels good to help other people. Maybe, you get the focus of whatever you're going through, whatever's crappy right now in your life kind of shifts, and you can focus on the other person instead of focusing on what's bad going on in your life. That's my quick take.
Take on it. Yeah. I would say for me, I feel we're programmed to believe that's what we're supposed to do. And I want to say maybe from a male perspective, there's some sense of rescuing people or being a hero of some sort, and you see those people, and they're really looked up to in most, I would say, in most societies. Police, firemen,
Mm-hmm.
doctors, those are professions that even some lawyers, there are instances where you have an opportunity to rescue others,
Mm-hmm.
and in doing so, I think we get a lot of validation from it. So I'm going to go with validation. And maybe even if you're not in one of those professions, I think just the idea of helping someone else and the praise we may receive from doing so is what we're kind of seeking in doing that. I'll just do it. I'll leave it there for that until we hear from someone else.
All right. Well, I can't wait to hear from our favorites. You guys know, if you've been here before, you already know. Put it in the chat if you
Say
are
that.
also now a fan of the School of Life. It can't just be us. So let's
Absolutely
go
not.
ahead and see what they've got to say on the matter.
Take us to school.
We might assume that our greatest longing in relationships would be to be looked after by someone, an exceptionally kind person who could listen to us, nurture us, assist us, and make us feel comforted and seen. But this is to ignore just how strong there is, in some of us, a diametrically opposed aspiration. a wish to find someone who is in a lot of pain and trouble, who's confused and sad, unhappy and overwhelmed, and who therefore cannot possibly do very much for us, but who we, on the other hand, have every opportunity to hold, appease, calm, and heal. For this group among us, troubles aren't just nuisances to be managed, they lie at the core of what we positively desire to find in others. We feel our heart tighten when we learn that someone had a difficult childhood, or is isolated and adrift, or has been bullied at work, or made to feel worthless in a past relationship. These are not merely regrettable incidentals, they lie at the centre of our feelings of love. For us to be this way, there tends to have been a certain sort of childhood. Something has happened to us early on, which means that giving assistance has become decisively easier than receiving it. We might say that everyone at the start longs to receive love, but when it's not been especially forthcoming, one way to handle its absence is to turn into a compulsive caregiver, to offer others what we wish could have been offered to us, to turn our deficiency into a bounty, to locate the needy part of us in someone else, and then to heal it in them as an alternative to addressing it in ourselves. When we've had to forego our wish to be nurtured and understood, maybe because mum was elsewhere or dad low in spirits, we might have begun by looking after our teddy bear, then moved on to our friends, and eventually in adulthood discovered our greater satisfaction in salving the woes of our lovers. We may now be rendered hugely uncomfortable whenever the tables turn, even for a moment. If a lover said, "Tonight it's going to be all about you," we might flinch. To hear, "I want to put you at the centre of my world," could bring on panic. It's not that such care isn't fundamentally wanted, it's that it was never experienced, and so has grown alien and frightening, a reminder of a wound we haven't been strong enough to contemplate, rage at, and move on from. The way out of our cul-de-sac is to start to notice how scared we are. We may have justified our behaviour by thinking of ourselves principally as selfless, but we are something more complicated and more interesting, terrified. We aren't just without reciprocity, we are manically intolerant of it. And yet, as we still stand to discover, sometimes the real generosity is to let a lover do to us what a parent did not at the start. It's to stop occupying the powerful position of the rescuer and learn, at points, to take the risk of being at another's mercy. It's to experience, as if for the first time, how much we need someone else. Real maturity may be as much about a capacity to receive as to give.
This was really, once again, thank you, School of Life. For me, this actually touched on something that I haven't thought about in a really long time. And I was bullied in school, and in elementary school specifically, probably from kindergarten all the way up to like 5th grade. And it just made me think, like, is this me when I help other people, like finding, like soothing the little girl that never got someone to stick up for her, to like stick up for her, rescue her, help me, whatever. Is this me trying to help other people, help them in that way, where I didn't get it myself? Because it was so funny when it was like, yeah, make me the center of your world. And it was like, watch how they squirm. And I was like, whoo, yeah, I'm squirming. So anyway, it brought up something for me that I don't think I've really considered. So I am going to really sit with that a little bit, I think, this week.
No, look through it. Yeah, that, well, I don't know. You talking about the bullying thing makes me think of, I guess, experiences I know I've had. And I know a part of my desire for people, or my own personal desire for around fitness, and then other people's fitness, has something to do with that as well. Mm-hmm. But now as I think about it, it certainly is a little warped, because it's about changing who I think you are so that others accept you and don't think to bully you, which is not which may not necessarily be. I know certainly I don't think what the video was referring to. What I will say though that Dave mentioned that stood out to me is just this idea of not having an experience, and then if someone tries to do it for you, how that's foreign feeling or that foreign sensation. Because I know I've had that experience before as well. And again, I feel like it as for myself, I know it just from a male perspective. It's just the idea of, I think certain women have been raised a certain way and know to provide a certain level of, I guess, help, or the way that they show love. And for if you have not experienced that, it can come off. It can be off-putting. Maybe not off-putting, but it can just be strange, because I don't think it's necessarily a negative. But you could just not be prepared for it. That's what came up for me as he was describing that. And it was funny that he said it was from the parental. It was from something you may have missed from your parents, and that was surprising. If that's what I heard correctly. That part was surprising.
Often it is, but I would say you can switch out parents and enter childhood.
Plug in anything, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Which is why
you brought up about bullying was interesting as well.
Yeah.
That also, as you went through it, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, because I definitely know, even as my son now talks about, oh, this person said something mean to me. I know I get in my head. Maybe obviously it's my kid, but I'm like, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
You need to finish that thought, Winston.